$100,000 over the course of a year. And that caught the attention of, is it SkyWest?
Yes.
Who is going to come in now. And the picture I saw, now they may fly like the Embraer. They may fly
YouTube is
ATR.
We had issues getting YouTube up.
They might fly an ATR. I don't know. But the picture, for example, in today's newspaper shows a jet. And
50 passenger capacity is what.
That's a nice aircraft.
So they're going to recommend SkyWest be the new airline provider.
Sure.
For Victoria, 12 flights a week between here and Houston. The one downfall, we will lose the flight to Dallas.
But you can fly from here to Houston, get on a plane to get on Southwest for $49 and fly to Dallas.
You'd have to go from IAH to Hobby to do that.
There you go. We lose Dallas. But at any rate.
But if there's demand, SkyWest could probably add it.
Sure. And they'll fly under the banner of
United.
They'll
fly as United.
Continental Express, which is a United.
No, it's United. It's United Express. Continental was before they merged. Remember when Continental and United merged?
It's Pan Am Express, TWA. Are the girls going to wear? Are the stewardesses going to wear those go-go boots?
And short dresses and pillbox hats.
And you laugh because they give you those little bottles. Like, how many bourbons can you swill between here and Houston? I had 6.
Half the time they don't even get. You're not even in the air long enough for them to provide drink service. That would be. I mean, and in all honesty here, that would be the one thing that they could do to keep the cost of a flight between here and Houston down. Get rid of the.
Yeah, you don't need a service.
Don't need a service.
BYOB.
If you need a flight attendant for whatever reason, I guess you need
for your safety. There's exits on the ends, on the sides.
Do all that.
Yeah, you got to have that.
But I mean, it's I believe 35-minute flight. I mean, if you can't get 35 minutes without a drink of water, or a Coke or coffee or something, and not use the bathroom, you probably shouldn't be flying anyway.
Well, see, on one hand, I would say the airlines are really making out like bandits right now because, and I would be wrong, because like on Southwest right now, they're getting what they call you an abbreviated service, which literally is a cup of ice water where the ice has melted and a bag of like Nabisco trail mix. Not even it's like the Cheez-It, the wheat thin, it's all in that one little bag. The pretzel,
mix.
So that's what
I prefer the biscottis.
I do
biscuits
too.
are so good.
But they'll give you that, and that's all you get on the plane, and it doesn't even offend you. It's like it's no big deal. But did you know they're not making out like a bandit? I heard this morning the chairman of United said that TSA enplanements, boardings, are down 72%. And this guy said, I want to go a little further.
It's pretty significant.
And down 72%. He said, I want to go a little further and tell you that includes pilots, flight attendants, staff, all of that. He said, that's the people that go through the gate at the TSA. He said, we like to look at revenue to see how we're doing. And our revenue is down 83%. So if you fly right now.
Of course, they like to look at revenue.
Yeah. He says, 72%
His job hinges on shareholder satisfaction.
Absolutely. How about those CEOs who are going to lose their jobs in the middle of this that really might be the finest employees on the planet, and yet their businesses are just floundering? 83%. If you fly these days, they're going to treat you like a king.
Yeah.
With water and Chex Mix. I'd like 2 Chex Mix, please. Oh, yes, sir. No problem.
Oh, no. We only brought enough for all 12 of you on this flight.
Right. That's exactly right.
Revenue's down 83%. We can't be handing out extra Chex Mix.
It's crazy.
I wonder if they get gouged like the government by Nabisco when they order the Chex Mix like that.
I used to think Nabisco probably gave them that as an advertising deal. It's a little bitty sample size. Of course, I was wrong, but because there's just too many. But you would think that they would really cut you a deal because there have been products I've had where I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was good, and you go seek them out in the store then.
Well, a lot of you couldn't find those biscotti biscuits anywhere, but now you can. HEB carries them.
The airline's not using them anymore, so now they sell them in stores.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how that works.
Nobody's flying.
Hey, shameless plug for a friend of ours.
Scott Tomko says the Chex Mix will be an extra $8.
Right.
Yeah. Choice. Do I want the legroom for $8 or do I want the extra Chex Mix for $8?
Now, I'm sure T-Lat has checked in. I'll tell you about a scandal we saw recently. Came to the airport carrying the same stuff that we had taken on our trip. And when we threw it on the scale, we're like 3.5 pounds over.
Yeah.
Which matters. At that point, you're done.
I wonder how often they calibrate those things.
Let me tell you this, brother. I wanted the thing. I said, how much am I over? 3.5 pounds. I said, what is it, $25? I mean, I was going to go, done. No, $75 for being 3 pounds over. And they're really monitoring that guy's poor back out there on the tarmac. That's what they're worried about, see, is that he's going to lift something that's too heavy. I respect that. So T-Lat and I start scurrying. I think I had a blow dryer hanging out of my backpack, that kind of stuff. We got it back to 49.8, and the guy said, let's go. This other kid comes up behind us, and he puts his on, and it says 57 pounds. He goes, there's no way. He goes, there's just no way. And I'm like, oh, hey, whatever, buddy. You get your $75 out. He literally, Ash, picks it up and sets it on the scale. Those things kind of butt up to each other. Sets it on the one next door, 53.2. The thing was all about 4 pounds and change, which means I got the chorizo because I was like that.
You were under.
I was under on the other scale. Still got a blow dryer hanging out, cord dragging down. I look like Sloopy, my cords dragging down the road.
Jeff Fonseca says $75 to lose your luggage.
Right.
I honestly, I believe that happened a lot more.
Guy's got his foot on the scale.
Well, no, but I mean, losing a luggage. Now they have barcodes on there.
So you've heard the joke: the business traveler shows up at the airport and says, "Okay, here's what I want to do. I want to get on the plane and fly to St. Petersburg, Florida. I want you to put this luggage on the plane and send it to Denver." And they go, "Sir, we can't do that. You have to travel with your luggage." He goes, "We did it last week."
Exactly. There's my beautiful wife, Cheryl, checking in. The Iceman is in. Mike Bloschke, good morning to you. Who else is? Lacey Merriman. Jeremy Pena, Karen Webb.
That Mike Bloschke's a good dude. You've hung out with him at my house.
Jason Brannon.
Hello, JB.
Callie Fromme, Annie Monday, Ben Zeller, H.R. Mallory, Andy Schneider.
Tyler, did you see that?
I did, yeah. I said good morning to her and my grandson.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Somebody had a question.
T-Lat may not be in here.
Where did I see this? Somebody had a question that they had heard a rumor that the county said they would buy the Confederate statue and put it in front of the courthouse.
I like that.
We're just getting out.
That word's getting out.
Yeah, Adam Daughter says
it
just doesn't sound right. What doesn't sound right? The rumor, or that's something the county should be involved in? Curious as to which part of that doesn't sound
could
right.
Be an easy fix for the situation in the county. I promise you, if you go out and poll the folks in the county, the farmers, the long-term Victoria families.
Jeremy Pena like I've said that. I think he said that on the during the citizens communication.
I like Sheriff that. We'll ask the judge what he thinks about that when he gets here.
Serena Scherer, good morning. Krista Stringham, good morning.
T-Lat said she was in. I like that. Good morning, sweetheart.
Steve and Sharice Branch, good morning. Ashley Haveling.
Whoa. What? Go back. Is that another one of those dual accounts?
Carl Smith.
Now, are we listening? Is Steve listening to us, or is Sharice listening?
I don't know. Maybe both. If it's a joint account.
I don't know.
I don't know if the county needs to be spending money on that.
Well, I don't know. I you know what? If the county just put up the money to move it, then again, the folks that want it moved off De Leon Plaza could probably maybe they wouldn't pay to move it over to the courthouse, which is not on the square.
Carl Smith points out the obvious. It is in front of the courthouse, just across the street.
Big boy, Don't confuse these people. They just want a victory. They want to say, we moved that statue. Where'd it go? Right over there. We moved it over there. We have another surprise for you here in the VCS Company studio. Very excited when the judge gets here to share with you some things that some changes we've made. We've upgraded.
We have.
We love our home here at Magic 95.9. You can listen at magic95victoria.com. And you can also say, hey, Alexa, open Magic 95, and it'll open up. Very interesting stuff, Ash. I told you I was updating for those of you that are as internet challenged as me, we were having real slow.
Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible. Real slow download speeds. The folks that suddenly redeemed themselves and came out, their field personnel are great.
It's everybody in between.
Oh, their phone personnel. When you call and you get that guy in Zimbabwe, and it's just impossible. But I'll tell you that they came out and they solved some speed problems for me that were basically in the line. The king in the hose, if you will, was out back. And, you can do things now. And I know the VCS companies, this is kind of a shameless lead into a break, but so you can have a repeater where you've got a signal that comes in on a scale of 1 to 10, it comes in at a 7, and you can move it as a 7 all around your home. Or you can bring it in as a 7 and amplify it to a 10 and send it all around your home. They have these signal enhancers now. It's called sildenafil. Anyway, no, you can enhance it and bring it all around your home. And
now available in generic.
Right, it's generic, the little blue pill for your laptop. It works. I mean, look at that laughing, Central Drug. Welcome. But there is a whole world out there. I was talking about Alexa and all that. I visited with a gentleman the other day that was saying, look, you can say garage door open, and you can have that thing Bluetooth essentially now where your garage door will open. Craziness. But I tell you what, if you want craziness, if you want that kind of organized chaos in your life, the VCS companies are the perfect home for it. If you say, I want, J.R. Harmon and I joked about this 3 years ago.
So J.R., check in. Good morning to you.
If you want to go from room to room and you want your music to follow you, he goes, oh, I can make that happen. If you want to walk out of a room and have the lights go off and you walk into another room and the lights come on, he can make that happen. It's crazy, the technology that's out there. That, by the way, every day it gets cheaper.
Yeah.
Every day it gets cheaper because the Chinese monitor your whole life through that technology.
Not of the consulate in Houston anymore.
Them or the IRS. One of them is monitoring everything you do. But the VCS company's Rocket Oilfield Services and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer right there on Kerr Boulevard inside the loop off Main Street. They are our banner sponsor for a reason, and those banners look good.
Thanks to the folks at Compadres Design.
Absolutely. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Call Allen's with your next tow opportunity. It may be that you have a small accident. It may be that you have a car that just won't go.
Saw an Allen's truck out early this morning.
They are on the road 24/7. They also have a depot in Refugio. So if you're on the highway between here and Refugio, it's a no-brainer to call Allen's because they're going to come from the closest location and secure your scene quickly and safely.
Can't miss it. Right on 77 in Refugio.
Yep. Our buddies Clayton and Casey Help, SCT Building Systems.
564-8864 is the number to call. They can handle your construction from pre-planning all the way to finishing out the landscaping, and then that's it.
I'm gonna tell you one. I'm gonna violate some HIPAA here. I'll tell you one. Drove by the new home of our friend, Stephen Turk over at Hall Electric. Drove by his new home. He's in the electric business. I was fired up. The evening, the lights were on, the house looks like a show place, right? Yep. I was like, man, Turk, Hall Electric, they got it going on. You know what I looked down and saw?
What?
Landscaping provided by Coastal Landscape. There you go. Clayton and Casey Help did that lighting, and it's awesome. So nice. If you have those opportunities, you reach out to them. I mean, Hall Electric reaches out to them. How about that?
I bet he provided the lights, though.
Maybe. Probably. Do you think a discount? Cost plus?
Maybe.
I don't know. Like that guy I forgot about the 41 grand.
We're going to get to that.
Chesnick Furniture Company, 100 years in downtown Victoria. Bobby Leon and his family. It's amazing. You got Tommy Taylor and his family. You got Bobby Leon and his family. It just goes on and on in this small community.
You got the Helts and their family.
Quality people, quality business. Chesnick Furniture. You just do better at Chesnick. That's what Granddad said. We say chestnut and love make your house a home. Bobby likes that. Chestnut and love make your house a home.
You do better with chestnut.
You do, though. Get by there and check them out.
Morning, Rob Pupi. Lisa Poole says, how about the Chinese consulate in Houston? We talked a little bit about that yesterday. They're burning documents.
See, there's the difference between the U.S. intelligence and Chinese intelligence. U.S. says, wipe the files, wipe the files. We cut off a few laptops and we're out of there. The Chinese are out in the back with a barrel.
Burning it.
Putting stuff in there.
They don't care.
Craziness.
We're smashing flash drives with hammers.
Yeah, we're going full-blown Hillary on it.
They're just burning it
old school in
a $10 burn barrel.
Craziness.
Oh, man. I wonder if the Trudeau government's burning documents.
Interesting story.
They promised this We Charity and subsidiaries of, and it's getting interesting. Almost $1 billion worth of real estate and other stuff. Trudeau's mom,
that's never a good sign.
Margaret Trudeau, I think his brother, they get some speaking engagements. Margaret Trudeau hasn't been popular since the 70s when she was doing Mick Jagger and Fidel Castro and who knows whoever else, everybody but her husband, Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
She was a player?
Yeah. So she gets paid a few $100,000 to go speak at some engagement by this charity.
You just threw that out there real casually. She was doing. Hooking up.
Yeah.
Little something.
Lots of something. His brother, who nobody ever heard of, gets paid like $50,000 to go speak at some engagement.
Sounds like Joe Biden.
Kind of.
And Hunter.
Kind of. So then, I think Trudeau's got his hand in the cookie jar, obviously, aside from just his mom and brother. Then the finance minister of Canada, turns out that they also happen to pay for a vacation or two for him and his family to the tune of about $100,000, I think.
You think maybe he walked in and said, "Hey, Trudeau, what gives here? Hey, hang on, there's enough for everybody. I'll hook you up." You think Justin hooked him up? By the way, this is our shameless Canadian moment. We have such a huge listenership in Canada, which we adore.
Chris Conrad said there was over 400,000 in fat in that. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And
his brother looks suspiciously like Fidel. Is he a Canadian dude with like a full dark beard? That's nice.
Justin himself looks a little bit like a young Fidel.
That's craziness.
The craziness here is that, and it's almost like what happens down here with the left and Joe Biden. I'm going to come right out and say it. Trudeau's not going to even be fazed by this.
No.
The left in Canada, as bad as the left down here, they're going to give him a free pass.
Well, part of it is people have become such sheep. There is no accountability. People have become such sheep that they're like, oh, he's in the government, he's elected. You can't question him.
You're a finance minister for the government of Canada. You're making, I don't know, I think you make more than you make down here. But he has the ability to just, pay back $41,000 that he forgot to pay for this trip when he originally took it.
I mean,
you're making a couple hundred grand
a year, and that's Canadian money.
Yeah.
Which is like $80.
You got $41,000 kicking around to pay back a family vacation. Who the heck takes a fifth of your income on a family vacation?
Are you kidding me? I love it when you get excited. This rant brought to you by O Canada Day.
No rant. Just pointing out the obvious.
Dave
Charles says sounds like the livestock show.
Yeah, wow, Dave. You just had to bring it home, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah.
Wow. You know, that, by the way, that's a story that just keeps on giving. And we're still, trust me, we're still following that story. There's two sides to the initial story. One is
probably three or four, but
so yeah, because I haven't talked to Mr. Sandhop at all. And that's not his fault. I haven't reached out to Garland Sandhop. Other than that, I saw him the other day. I went the other direction. No, not really. Fine gentleman, but I haven't spoken to him. But on one hand, you'll hear prosecutors say often, I hate to see the civil tail wag the criminal dog. If you have a situation and there's a chance that it's going to be criminally prosecuted, you let the criminal prosecution run its case, a la O.J. Simpson, and then you sue in civil court. You don't go into civil court where the burden of proof is less and make a bunch of accusations about somebody that then cloud the criminal proceeding. So in this case, Constance Philly Johnson, and I'm not giving away anything, she put it in a letter, said that, look, the agreement that was reached between Ms. Hessler and the livestock show irreparably damaged the DA's office ability to pursue that situation. They can't pursue the livestock show because she could say, I signed that under duress. If you don't sign this, if you don't admit this, then we're going to sue you.
Don't use it. You got enough other evidence.
What's interesting is I've read the affidavit, and Steve Tyler, former district attorney, who has caught a little bit of heat as the guy that, well, the deal you cut for the livestock show kind of protects her from the DA. Okay, that's just a little puff of smoke on the bonfire that is Miss Hessler. Okay, first of all. Secondly, Steve Tyler did what his client wanted: restore our credibility, get us our money back, and reassure the public that we're good folks, which he did and which they are. The third thing is, in the affidavit, they literally lay out the exact, I mean, he uses the verbiage of the statute and says, you know, did you do this? Did you knowingly do this? Did you do this with malice? Did you know that you were committing a crime? Blah, blah, blah. He lays out all the various levels of the crime. So it's there. I mean, her affidavit, there is no stone unturned where they could say, well, she didn't say that she knew she was doing something wrong. It's all there. So on one hand, Steve Tyler, folks, he just out-lawyered a bunch of people. That's what happened. The livestock show said, he said to them, what do you want? We want our money back. Bam. They got their money back. Now, was that at the expense of another deal? Did that usurp another deal that had maybe been negotiated? Steve Tyler doesn't care. He doesn't work for the other people. He works for the livestock show. I have to give him props for that and say that I still think there's plenty of bullets in Constance Philly Johnson's gun if she wants to go get Billy Hessler.
Yeah, and I've had conversations with people, and I think there's a lot more coming, folks.
Right. So,
and the numbers become astronomical just from the conversations I've had.
So thanks for bringing that up, Dave, because that gave us what? That bought us 4 minutes.
4 minutes, bottom of the hour.
Veracruz yesterday.
Veracruz today, Veracruz tomorrow.
But not Veracruz Saturday.
Or Sunday.
So get mentally ready to get in and get your Veracruz fixed.
But you can place an order to pick it up, say around suppertime Friday, and then you might have enough for Saturday if it lasts that long.
What you could do.
You'll get enough food to last that long, whether or not you actually don't eat it all and want to save some for Saturday is another story.
Well, what you could do is you could call ahead on a Friday. Go by there about 7 o'clock, have a couple of cold beers, maybe some queso.
They're going to want to kick you out. They want to get on with their weekend.
And then get your food to go and take it home.
576-6015 is the number to call to place your order.
Razor IT Solutions for all your needs. You hear us say it here every day. If you haven't reached out yet, you owe it to your business. In today's climate where people are compromising your data, they're stealing your stuff, you need a guy like JP who can talk to you in layman's terms about encryption, algorithms. What else does he talk about? He talks about your analytics. He can tell you who's
security,
all of it. Help you protect your business. You're going to be like, what? You mean I can just put a pay button there and it goes right to my QuickBooks? I don't have to.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. He does know that. Reach out to Razor IT Solutions. JP Hull will take care of your business. The Atzenhofer dealership, quite simply, since 1926, Victoria's dealer. They're stacking them deep. They're selling them cheap. Everybody drives a used car. They're selling cars like candy bars.
They're just down the road from higher prices.
Right, and everybody else builds their cars on Friday, but not Atzenhofer. Theirs are Monday morning when everybody's rested and sharp.
Yeah, because those robots, They party hard on the weekend.
That's right. That's one thing about a robot. It never calls in sick. Reach out to Adson over either Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi. They got it all. They're helping Ash right now. Ashton's buying a new car. A new car.
That ain't a new car.
She's helping him.
Newer.
He's helping them. They're helping her.
So,
awesome.
Yep.
No, and White Trash Services. BJ, I saw Scott Nelson this last weekend. I told you that. Super gentleman. Folks, these guys are another typical Wade and Carter sponsor. Family-owned business, active in the community. He's super active with the Go Texan group, giving back, helping the youth, raising money for scholarships. BJ's awesome.
550-1826, the number to call.
Reach out to them for all your trash-tastic needs. You need a roll-off dumpster at a job site. You need service in the county, including Rockport and Holiday Beach. Perfect. Great folks, a great business, and a great success story here in Victoria County. So do we want to bring in His Eminence?
Let's get our last couple things before we bring the judge.
Go ahead.
Opening day today, Nats and Yankees. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci's going to throw out the first pitch.
Where's that ball going to go? Will he throw it and take it back? Will he throw a curveball? What will he do?
He's thrown enough curveballs.
I bet you he wears a mask. He might be in a hazmat suit. Would that freak everybody out if he went up there with a full with the oxygen tank on his back?
You should.
Well, there's not going to be any fans there.
Well, I know, but
they've got cardboard cutouts in the Crawford boxes.
Keep up appearances.
Did you know that? They put cardboard bodies in the Crawford boxes. I'm not joking. At Minute Maid.
You know what they should do? Take a page out of Korea and don't go with the sex dolls, which was the mistake. Remember when they did that in the Korean League? But they should take the other page out of the Korean League, which I thought was good. Get people to donate a bunch of stuffed animals and put them in the seats for the 60 games. And then when they're done, they can donate them to kids with cancer. They could give them to police to put in their cars, to give to kids. That would be a pretty cool. I mean,
why would
50,000?
Why would you?
Well, because
statues. Why would you glorify that clown?
Because he's been clamoring about what a big Nats fan he is almost every time he gets a chance. So that's probably why. Giants, Dodgers, the other game. Dodgers just gave Mookie Betts a huge bunch of money. 12 years, $365 million.
Patrick Strauss says it was $100 for a cutout of yourself. Okay, so that's what the Astros did.
We got some marketing. That was smart.
That's pretty smart. Cody Sugar says he's out on baseball.
Yeah. So,
boy, Ted Cruz has been hammering Mark Cuban about why can't I say back the blue on the back of the jersey, Mark Cuban, smart guy, probably didn't want to argue with Ted Cruz.
No, probably not.
Ted might twist you around into a knot. We want to get Judge Ziller in here.
Yeah. Of course, why are they playing the national anthem before games? You've got nobody in the stands.
How is she going to protest? Do the players stand on the top of the step, or do the players?
I think they're taking
the players need to be able to protest. They have to show that they care. Oh, all these guys that make $50 million a year, they vote Democrat. Those guys are all Republicans. They got Dominicans that are Republicans.
I just don't know why.
Viva Trump! Viva Trump!
You don't have 50,000 people in the stands on opening day today. Why would you even play it?
Yeah.
Still don't know why you're playing.
Well, it's a song that glorifies war. I mean, I'm not sure we shouldn't just
get rid of it completely.
Use Imagine by John Lennon. Just imagine there's no countries. Imagine there's no God. That would be a much better global anthem. Let's just use Imagine.
Well, that's sort of the reasoning that Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, yesterday. President Trump unveiled Operation Legend, named after the 4-year-old that was shot senselessly in a drive-by shooting in Chicago, right?
Just another day in Chicago.
Yeah, really it is. I mean, dozens of people killed every day by gunfire, several dozen shot and wounded. But the mayor yesterday goes out and tells everybody in Chicago, if you see something wrong, call 911, call 311. On these federal agents who are coming in here, the DHS, Border Patrol, all these federal, and they keep calling them troops. They're not troops. They're federal law enforcement. But see how they spin it, and the media follows along. And they want to make it seem like it's a military operation. You have a lawless society in Chicago where you've got dozens of your citizens dying every day from gunfire, and you're the mayor and you don't care.
Yeah, no, I think Lori Lightfoot enjoys it and perpetuates it because she thinks that she can blame Trump.
And the victims are predominantly black.
It's black on black crime.
The numbers bear it out, yet Lori Lightfoot doesn't seem to care about those black lives.
No. Those dads that don't come home.
And she's asking the people of Chicago to call the police on the police who are coming in to help save your city because you and Rahm Emanuel and everybody else who's come before you on the Democrat side has done absolutely nothing but drive your city into a perpetual ditch.
And she's their boss. She's over the police. Why would call the police on the police?
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. And this is who gets elected, and this is who turns to the federal government to try to help, only when they want the help, and that help only is in the form of money. They don't want people on the streets and actions that actually might make a difference.
Right there, Vanessa Bowles sums it up. There is no order, and the mayor has failed them.
And not just her, every mayor that's come before her for a long time has failed Chicagoans. Yet now she's asking Chicagoans to do the right thing and call police when they see something wrong, but only if it involves police. Don't call them if there's a crime going on in your neighborhood to come help you.
No. If the police do something wrong, make sure we know about it.
And she's not the only one. There's idiot mayors in other cities that are doing the exact same thing.
What was the number the other day? Was it Chicago? It was either Chicago or New York. It was a huge city to where the number wasn't that big a number, but it was 600 officers have put in for early retirement.
I think that's New York. Yeah.
Early retirement.
I think it's up like 400% over this time a year ago.
But you know what, folks? I saw one the other day. We all agree. The numbers are so strong that there's 10 million arrests in the country and maybe 1,000 people get shot every year, and it's like 0.00001%. Yada yada yada. One's too many. I get that. One bad cop is too many. But you know what? There's a bad CPA somewhere. There's a bad banker. There's a bad lawyer somewhere. The reality of the deal is there was a restaurant. I don't remember what city it was. I heard it yesterday, where a young man, 21 years old, got arrested at a restaurant because in the back he was spitting in the drinks that he delivered to seated police officers in this restaurant. I mean, this is just a matter of human decency. This is just a matter of, we want to say Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, your life matters. But you got a guy out there who there's a 99.9999% chance is a guy that puts on a uniform to try to protect his fellow citizens. And some clown's going to spit in his drink. I mean, you talk about cowardice, and it's a typical thing of the left. They're always in a group. There ain't no leftist radio show on the program where two guys just stand here and talk all that leftist garbage. They've got to have a mob. They've got to have a special purpose. They've got to have a special group. They all meet. They have breakfast together.
How do we get to a point where lawlessness is considered righteous?
Indignation.
And the way to be going. I mean, it's absolute lunacy. And I don't know how we got here.
Who does?
Well, I know how we got here because the cancel culture has been so effective in neutering people to stand up and speak out when they see something wrong because they're quickly labeled a racist, misogynist, whatever.
21 years old, spitting in an officer's drink. What happened to the days when a gentleman would get up and, as a good example for his children, would just pick up the lunch ticket of a law enforcement officer?
What happened to the days when I was in high school and you didn't have a 21-year-old working in a fast food establishment?
Right.
That was all high school kids, aside from the managers. And it was a stopgap to get you through high school so you had gas money for the weekends and help you pay for college because you knew, or trade school or whatever, but that was your ticket to a better life, not working for minimum wage for the rest of it.
Right, exactly. Let's take our last break. Then we'll give the top to the judge. Uncle Mud's Barbecue. Today's a great day. Brisket, ribs, sausage, turkey, all the side dishes, all your favorites. Here's another thing. Don't forget Uncle Mud's for your next catered event. When you're social distancing and you want to have a group over, you've got picnic tables all out across the lawn, spread out. Uncle Mud's can come in. They'll do it by the plate. They'll do it by the pound. They'll do it any way you want to do it. Sit down and visit with Jonathan Arterberry. The food is great. The service is unbelievable. They cut the brisket there. They don't just ship it out to you. Reach out to Uncle Mud's, and you'll be happy. Gray Barn Design, same thing. Have Cheryl come over and design that backyard party.
361-920-6803, or reach out to Gray Barn Design on Facebook. They can you'll see the gallery of projects, and you'll get an idea of just how Cheryl can transform your event into something memorable and magical.
She does neat things. She's an exciting and beautiful lady, and she'll help you enjoy your time with your family, with friends, a reunion, a corporate outing, a university get-together where you need something that has that little oomph. You're tired of looking at those same votive candles that come out every time they got dust on them, the fake foliage. Reach out to Cheryl. It's simple. It's the little things that make a party memorable, and she can do that for you. 920-6803. Charlie Garcia, 578-HOME, HOME.
USA Concrete Coatings. They can transform any concrete surface into something brand new.
Turn your garage. You've got that man cave in your garage, the big screen TV. You've put in the split AC unit. You've got the refrigerator. Come on in there with either a red and blue or a silver and blue fleck in your flooring. Make it a cowboy cave or a Texans cave. You can do that.
They can do that.
If you want to help your resale, you'll make it a cowboy cave. Because there's only like 8 Texans fans in town. But other than that, even if you're a Texans fan, put a cowboy-based floor on there for the next guy.
Yeah, right before you sell it.
Right. 578-HOME. Charlie's got it's all high-tech polymers and this and that.
Yeah.
I'll get some more data for you, but then I'll have to go to like a class to learn how to say it.
You might have to get licensed just to be able to talk about it, like an application license.
I went by and saw Carl Wendt on
Yeah.
Tuesday. Wendt Electrical, Wendt Generators, Wendt Plumbing, Wendt Services, period. He said that this generator season has been extraordinary, that more and more folks are starting to realize the benefit of having an automatic generator at their home. And I know you've talked about it. And get a guy like Ash.
More affordable when you think about it.
When you start thinking about building, it's good to just incorporate it right away. Just put it in there so you've got it. Wendt Services, they also have Wendt Solar. They can put solar panels on your property or on your home and let them feed into a backup battery pack. It used to be you only had power when the sun was out. Now that's not the case.
No, they can store it. And they can still pull power when it's cloudy.
Absolutely.
Like it will be this weekend.
So you'll have sunshine on a cloudy day.
Exactly. Clayton Meyer checking in. Good morning to you, Clayton.
That's Clay Tony.
Let's bring the judge in.
Don't call him Clay. Judge, put down the margarita. Come into the green room. Come on. He looks bored.
Probably is.
Gosh, I hope he's in a good mood. Hang on, let me go fix the deal. Look what we did, Judge.
We got some things. Wow. Things are booming here. Waiting Carter.
Check it out. You're right here, and then you're like in the isolation zone. Look at that. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Let's do this real quick. Got to bring his fan.
Got the judge in the soundproof booth.
Good to be here. See, you have some new artwork.
A new banner. People were telling us, good listeners, faithful listeners were saying, I think the last time you were here, they were like, it's terrible. There's nothing behind you. It looks terrible. It looks sharp, It looks good. You look good, Judge.
Well, good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
We've had a big week. I mean, we had Vanessa Hicks Callaway come in with a rousing, patriotic conversation on Tuesday.
Yes, I listened to that.
We had Lieutenant Colonel Alan West on yesterday talking about the state of the Texas Republican Party. And now we have you on today, which is always a thrill for us. And on Friday, we've got Michael Cloud.
That is a busy week.
Next week we're just taking it off.
Yeah, we're
it'll
gonna-
be downhill.
What else you want us to do?
Straight to the scene of the crash next week.
Well, good to be here. Always happy to talk about what's going on in the county. I didn't know if there was something in particular y'all wanted to visit about, or if you just wanted a update of what's happening.
You know, when you're here at your show, you just take over. Tell us about, what do you think about Commissioner Ives' concept of just taking that statue and let's get it off De Leon Plaza, let's get it off the plaza, and just take it over to the old courthouse. Been there from the 1800s. Just take it over there and stick it over there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think definitely a majority of the court would support leaving it where it is, as does, I think, the vast majority of the community. But that's not something we've had on our agenda to discuss. It would be my preference that the council would leave it right where it is and not give in to the.
It's a council issue, not a county.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's why it hasn't been something on our agenda. We haven't discussed it. But
They haven't blamed y'all for it yet.
Correct. That's not something we've discussed, but I would speculate that the majority of the court would agree with my sentiment, and apparently Commissioner Ives' sentiment, that it ought to stay where it is. And I know it's some are trying to make it a controversial issue, and I guess it is, but the monument smashers in our culture, the people who want to move monuments.
At least we haven't got to the point where we've got people smashing them and pulling them down illegally and all that.
That is good. And there's the question of, should the city council send it to the voters? I'm not convinced that even that should be done. I think in general, big picture, this monument and most monument sites are proxy battles for bigger underlying cultural, societal division. And the monument is the focal point of that.
Right.
It's really not about the monument. It's about how our culture, how our country, how our history, how our heritage is viewed. There are those who detest that, don't like it. If you were to ask, thoughts about America, are we the greatest country? Thoughts about America, you get one opinion. Ask the other side. Those of us who recognize that the United States has done more to advance the cause of oppressed communities, has done more to advance freedom for all, done more to end slavery in the world than any other advanced culture. I think it's a proxy battle for deeper underlying issues. But should that move, I support leaving it right where it is. Are we going to buy it? I don't think it's
right. I think that was tongue in cheek.
I saw this from Tim Ballard, CEO of Operation Underground Railroad. He said the day after he met with the president to discuss human trafficking, 1,000 of their monthly donors canceled their donations. All because Trump derangement syndrome is a real affliction and Orange Man bad. Doesn't matter what he does, who he talks to. You're meeting, he met with somebody who is working to fight child trafficking and child enslavement. And because you talk to the president, your donors decide to walk away.
Yeah, you got to hate it when you go to the guy that could actually do something.
Yeah.
By the way, your sister said to tell you hi. She said, "Hey, Ben."
Well, hey, Lacey.
She's doing great.
Good morning. Yeah, it is. It's troubling to see really how deep the division and how toxic things are. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but the whole COVID-19 situation isn't helping things. People are.
What's the latest on that? Where are you at with that lately?
Well, I guess very large daily case counts are the current new normal. I will say that I think we can manage current levels. From a hospital healthcare point of view, it is taxing and burdensome and struggle.
Are we at capacity in our ICUs? Like the rumors around the community are floating around?
We've got capacity. Obviously, that capacity changes on a daily basis. The numbers that you see are, by the time you get them, old numbers, outdated numbers. But in terms of hospital beds, well, ICU beds in particular have been the focal point, and it is very limited. Capacity is limited, but hospital beds in general, there's greater capacity now because our hospitals are taking steps to expand their bed capacity. I think in terms of that, the situation has somewhat stabilized. It's still burdensome on the system, but better now than it was a couple weeks ago. Here locally, we've gotten a couple epidemiologists on loan from the state, some other personnel support in our emergency operations center with the health department. And of course, there's been some outside medical support, nurses and whatnot coming in to assist. So it's still a problem. The biggest thing is just the unknown. When does it end? When will it subside? Obviously, the thing that people were looking at was schools restarting in person. When is that going to be? Obviously, now it'll be no sooner than September 8th, which is not good. In making that decision, it's really the best of bad options. Having a delayed in-person start for school is horrible. Kids need to return to the classroom, need routine. The remote learning.
It's hard on parents. Well, both parents work.
And it's a huge problem for thousands of people in Victoria who are in that situation.
All the single moms who have a job, who are having to work remote right now.
That's a huge problem. So it was that, or put kids back in the classroom right now. The decision that was made to postpone that to September 8th or later was the county health authority. Of course, the school districts themselves have the ability to make that decision. I would presume that as we approach that day, it would be up to the school districts and the individual schools as to how they want to resume in-person instruction. But we don't know. We'll just have to see. One of my biggest frustrations is I like to be able to give constituents, give the community answers when they call and ask, when's school going to resume? What do you think is going to happen? I like to be able to give somewhat of a definitive answer that I'm comfortable with, but I really can't do that. And throughout this whole situation, it's been so unpredictable and fluid. And frankly,
you don't know.
I don't see an end in sight for the lack of clarity on what the future holds, which makes this such a challenge.
Yeah, and as I've learned navigating these COVID waters is I don't know isn't necessarily a bad answer in this time, but being nimble enough and ready to respond as things change is how you have to go. That's how things have changed. You can waste all your time planning for 18 million different scenarios, and none of them are going to matter because 18 million and one is going to be the one that happens. You just got to be ready and have your plans and good communication and ready to respond and move quickly.
And that's what we've done. And it is, again, challenging because I think COVID will be with us for a long time. And I'm inclined to think we need to resume in-person instruction on the 8th. I'm inclined to think that, but as we get closer to that, my mind may.
On the practical side, now as you're saying, and being ready to have an answer and all that is admirable, but on the practical side, being prepared and able to blame someone else is always a political attribute. Be prepared. It's one thing to say, I own it, I'll take charge of this. But if you have the opportunity to blame someone else, that's always a good option. Just saying.
Well,
that's what the Democrats do so well.
It is unfortunate that many people jump on that as the first response.
Yes, sir.
I hope we haven't done that.
No, I think our leadership here has been very strong through this whole deal.
But it has been interesting to see people complain on that and blame for decisions made at the time based on the information.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you circle back and you change direction a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I mean, the blame game is played on this.
It is.
And we're in uncharted territory. Nobody knows. I mean, we haven't been through this.
Well, they do the deal when y'all were doing the daily update. They would say, we're thrilled to be joined by Dr. John McNeil. We're thrilled to be joined by Ben Zeller, and brought to you by Columbia Professional Fishing Gear, Raleigh McCoy. And we love that. And Raleigh has really expanded into the entire Magellan collection for the fall. But here's my next question to you. How do you feel about this new airline? And what is that going to do for Victoria? SkyWest. Lenny says he's excited. He says the increase in enplanements has allowed us to reach out and get a United Express aircraft that's going to come in 12 flights a week to Houston, 50 passengers.
I'm supportive of the change. I was there for most of the meeting yesterday, had to leave somewhat early, but I think boutique, we've reached the high water mark of what that can do.
Filled a need and a void. And I'll say this, I've traveled boutique. I enjoyed it. The planes were a unique experience because it was almost like flying a charter.
I heard the seats were beautiful.
They're big and they were comfy.
So I think.
But this is going to be more traditional, like.
Contracts?
I believe those are 2-year contracts. I could be wrong. The airport commission has largely been working on that. Those proposals, that decision. I attended the meeting yesterday, said that I was favorable to the change. I think we ought to, if possible.
I'd like to see the airline promote the airline. I know that the airport has to, we've done it. I think Victoria has done an admirable job of saying, hey, we promoted here, you promoted it here. I visited with the airport, with Mr. Rushop, on and on.
In their proposal, part of it was a small marketing budget.
They need to do something.
A bigger marketing budget. I'm not trying to say
it was a small marketing budget. Yeah. I agree. It should be marketing.
If there was a billboard by the airport, turn left and fly to Houston. Why drive to Houston? Just turn left right here. We'll have you there in a half hour.
Yeah, no, I think
too late at that point. They're already driving.
New airline will be a good thing, but we'll see.
Yeah. What else you got? You seem like you have a little pep in your step today. We want to know what's going on in your world.
I do have a question. Adam Daughtry asked, have citizens updated rooms for COVID patients, i.e. pressurized rooms and that sort of thing, making adjustments there, I guess, to have more capacity?
Yes, well, absolutely they are. They're adding the number of rooms, expanding their capacity. Of course, in a situation like this, the more fragile resource is your manpower. Obviously, there's been those at Citizens and the medical staff that have gotten COVID been taken out of the picture for a while, but they have expanded capacity.
Is that an issue now, personnel, or is that a problem at this point?
It is still an issue. Like I said, the hospital, Citizens, is managing the current level of demand effectively. People who need a hospital bed are getting one. People who need an ICU bed are getting one. That's not the case in some communities. There's hospitals in San Antonio where
did you see what's
waiting in ambulances for hours, just scrambling to find a place to put them. But I think it's being handled effectively at the current level.
Well, and I'm sure you probably saw what Stark County did down the valley, basically put together an ethics panel of doctors and others to decide whether or not somebody's worth saving in a COVID situation. That's basically what they've done.
I didn't see that headline. I'd be interested in more details on that.
It's bad if you show up and they take the lipstick and put like an X on your forehead. That's not
a good sign.
I saw that on Pearl Harbor.
Other things going on. Obviously, COVID has been dominating the headlines.
You tired of it?
Knocking out people's schedules, but we're in budget season at the county. We're going to be having our public budget workshops here in a couple weeks, and that's another arena of some unknowns.
You got a blue pen. Usually you have a red pen during budget season.
It ran out of ink already.
Well, I wonder, so, okay, it's a good time. You get so many softball questions here, and we sent you the press release yesterday.
Okay, I'm ready for you.
Tell me how you're going to deal with a gentleman, a new sheriff named Justin Marr, who's going to come in. By the way, I don't know if he's even involved in this particular budget cycle since his term doesn't officially start till January, but I'm sure as a guy who's been on the streets for years, a guy who's not, he's not a behind the desk law enforcement guy. Are his needs when he can say, I am speaking from experience. I need 4 more cars. I need 2 more deputies. How do you anticipate reaching out to him or him reaching out to you? I don't know the process.
Yeah, I'm very excited to welcome Sheriff Marr into office. There's no rule of interim sheriff. Sheriff Marr is the sheriff with the term he was sworn into ending the end of this year and then a new year term beginning thereafter. So no interim sheriff as has been reported in some places. He is the sheriff and will absolutely be involved in every aspect of his budget and operations.
I'm excited for him.
Absolutely, I am too. I think he'll do a great job. The timing brings him in kind of while this is going on, but certainly he'll be part of that discussion, part of that process. It's no secret among he and everybody else that we're looking at revenue shortfalls for next year. One of the reasons why I talk about this, why it's been kind of problematic, it's largely been more of a challenge for me, for us, due to the fact that I've, at least at these steps, taken off the table some things that other entities jump to as a first option. That is depleting reserves and also raising the tax rate. I'm working hard to avoid doing both of those things in preparing for the 2021 budget.
If we had to go down one of those 2 paths, which would it be?
It just depends on the circumstances. We've been successful the last 5 years doing neither in facing budget challenges. And it is my goal to do the same this go around. But we're still waiting on some numbers, local tax numbers locally, just to make things work. But our commissioners court operates in a real conservative process. We work to live within our means, balance the budget without raising the taxes, the tax rate. I mean, and you see that in the track record over the last 5 years. The growth of the tax rate, property tax rate, has been well below 1%, probably closer to 0.5%. There's been more years in which it has been absolutely flat or declined as opposed to increase, which is challenging to do given the demands and the needs that we have, what's pushed down on us from the state.
The unfunded mandate.
That's part of it. And I talk about that all the time, but going into the next legislative session, that's going to be especially a hot topic because the comptroller just reported day before yesterday, that in the state's current 2-year budget, there's been about an $11 billion revenue downward projection, putting the state in a multi-billion-dollar anticipated deficit in the current budget, not the new one they're going to write next year, but in the current one. And so that's a challenge going into what will be another deficit year biennium for the legislature, another deficit. And, there's really only 3 ways they meet revenue shortfalls: by cost cutting, by cost shifting, and by use of the rainy day fund.
Well, maybe this is
2 of those 3 affect us greatly.
Well, and maybe a good time for the state to rethink budgeting and how they do it using anticipated revenues.
Well, I'll tell you this: I'm when I look at the situation you're in,
but no short of challenges looking at the next session.
When I look at the situation you're in, if I thought COVID was going to go away a year and a half, 2 years even, I would say draw down your reserves. But given that COVID could be the new normal, I hate to use that phrase, if COVID is going to be with us going forward, then you don't, I couldn't help it. You don't draw down your reserves because now the game just changed. We still need reserves. And in the same breath that I don't want to be the guy that says, Well, if you don't draw down the reserves, do you have to raise taxes? C.W. Bean says, why don't we lower property taxes and maybe raise sales taxes? Let those who consume pay.
The concept is wonderful, and I would support that if the state, had a bill to do that. Locally, we don't have the ability to. The county has half a penny in sales tax revenue, and we're not able to increase that.
And that's got to be even tougher in this national chain shortage to come up with half a penny.
Well, what would it do? What would it do to you? I mean, how much would it make a difference? It's not all of your budget. If it went from a half a penny to a penny, what would it do to you?
Well, that would be doubling what we have. It'd be an extra 10. I mean, we could eliminate sales. We could eliminate property taxes for the county with
A sales or consumption
an extra
tax.
penny and a half. I mean, that would.
And people wouldn't even really notice it.
That would be the impact.
Instead of paying $1.08, you pay $1.10 for something.
And that's been a discussion. There was a movement in the last legislative session to do that. I will say, speaking of the sheriff and revenue and sales taxes, you may recall part of phase 2 has been delayed due to COVID, but the Innovation 2020 and beyond, in the first phase of that, we looked at the concept of a county assistance district where we could, outside the city limits, generate, with an approval of the voters, generate a little bit extra sales tax revenue to steer towards particular purposes, one of them being law enforcement. That's a conversation I plan to have with the new sheriff. In the years ahead, using that as a mechanism to continue to meet the needs of our law enforcement community without increasing property taxes. That's something we'll talk about, we'll look into, and we may do.
And what the judge is saying there, you go to a local convenience store and you buy something for $1, it costs you $1.08. You go out into the county store and it's like $1.05, $1.06. He's saying it would still be $1.08 out there, and the difference is that money would be going to providing rural law enforcement.
And the difference is that within the city limits, the city of Victoria has a 1.5 cent sales tax, whereas we have half a penny. Outside the city limits, it's just half a penny. So that's something we'll look at. But again, a lot of these projections are unknowns. What will be the effect on us going forward? It's hard to estimate because there's just so many unknowns. But that's the job we have to do, and within the next few weeks, we'll have a pretty concrete picture of how we'll address those shortfalls and how we'll deal with next year's budget.
Well,
Andy Schneider asked a question, not really for the judge, but why do y'all think COVID-19 might not go away? I think it'll go away November 4th.
Well, I mean, I guess might not go away. Lots of viruses are with the flu and other things. I haven't seen or read anything to indicate that it won't be a problem next month or the following month or even by year end. And then there's all this talk about the second wave.
I thought we were in the second wave already.
Well, if this is the second wave, the first wave was not a wave. It was looking back at February, March, how.
Well, that's I think that echoes the frustration of a lot of people. That was the first wave. We were told the second wave was coming in the fall. Now it seems to be here a little earlier. And that's in the second wave. It's not the fall yet.
Well, and that's the thing too. The heat was supposed to kill it, or at least
right.
Depends who you talk to.
I've heard that they think it's morphed into a weaker or different type of virus.
And the problem is
we don't know.
Who do you believe?
They don't know.
One thing,
Fauci.
And the Facebook social media world complicates things because anything you want to believe,
there's somebody out there, right?
There's a YouTube video and a Facebook link to support your theory.
Yeah.
And a bunch of memes.
People that say say wearing a mask saves lives. People that say wearing a mask harms your life. I mean, there's experts on both sides, and you know what? They're probably both right.
Yeah, so I'm operating under the assumption that this will be affecting the economy, that this will be an issue going into the fall. What is that gonna look like? Who knows? We'll see.
And we'll have a discussion tomorrow with Michael Cloud on COVID relief at the federal level and all sorts of things that
Would you like
conversation
Ash and I to
yeah.
get you some money when we talk to Michael Cloud? Do you need some money? I mean, they're giving it away trillions at a time now. How about a couple $100 million?
That would be helpful.
Okay, we'll talk to him about
Well, and actually, there is a specific legitimate request. That big source of funding, the CARES Act, it went to the states. The states put some strings on it. The big counties got their money directly from the U.S. Treasury. The 7, 8 largest counties in the state.
Harris, Dallas.
We, the smaller ones,
Travis.
have to go through the state and jump through all the hoops. We've been pushing to change that.
Imagine that.
But, so maybe you could pass that along.
We will. I'll take
Well,
it.
maybe they just didn't have your banking information.
didn't
They have the wrong routing number, yeah.
Give me your routing number. No, not your routing. Give me the county's routing number, and I'll make sure that
Yeah.
Michael Cloud
Well,
gets
that'll
that
be
over
a
there.
good discussion with Congressman Cloud. I've grown somewhat cynical in everything going on with a lot of politicians, elected officials. But I remain very impressed by and supportive of Congressman Cloud doing a great job for us, for this district, and we are blessed to have him in office.
Yes, sir.
I hear Mitch McConnell the last couple of days talking about, a new relief plan. And I'm not sure if this is his election cycle or not, but I can't help but think that he's just trying to buy some votes.
Well, I would say so. And the federal deficit is a huge concern. People are not talking about that as much these days, but.
Well, I guess from a global perspective, we're not the only country just starting to print more money. So
there are many countries that have done this before, and we've seen the results that yields in time. No doubt about that, and it's not good.
Judge, as always, we appreciate your accessibility. Thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
You were here on a big week for Wade and Carter. We got new banners. We've had